lighter, stiffer, faster. How often have you heard those words in relation to MTB? It might also subconsciously influence what type of bike you buy. That lighter, more expensive is inherently better. Because in MTB, the higher the price, the lighter the weight and supposed higher performance. Now, I don't think the same applies to eMTB. On a crisp day in the woods, we look at the reasons behind that. Now, what we're discussing today is not lightweight versus heavyweight, light assist versus full power bikes. It's actually the range of weights currently available for full power eMTBs, which is currently around about 20 to 30 kilos. So, when we say that weight is a good or bad thing, and let's face it, a fundamental part of reviews and conclusions of mountain bike media worldwide, what are we actually trying to measure? Is it speed, grip, nimbleness? When it comes to measuring the liveliness or nimbleness of an eMTB, such things as where the weight is, the shock tune, the suspension design, and the geometry count for much more than just that weight number. In terms of grip, you can add the tyres, the tyre pressure, compounds, and the wheels to that equation. And back on the nimbleness, consider this for a minute. Is a heavier 27.5 inch wheel bike more nimble than a lighter 29 inch version? Is a bike with a short chainstay more nimble than one with a longer one? Of course, the hypothesis, if you like, is true in certain tests. For example, is a lighter bike easier to lift over a gate? Well, yes, it is. I guess what we're saying is the performance when it comes to weight on a sliding scale shouldn't favour the lightweight bike without first setting the proposition. So that's the bike side of things covered in very simple terms, obviously. What about the rider? Now, very often a heavier rider will be a stronger rider. So think about this, a 20 kilo bike with an 80 kilo rider, that's 25% of the weight in the bike. Whereas a 30 kilo bike with a 60 kilo rider, that's half the weight. So it's a very different proposition and will have a different impact. So are heavier bikes faster or slower? I think it's an interesting distraction for sure. A key metric for marketing and the basis of pro or con, positive or negative for bike testers worldwide. I've been there. However, don't be conned into thinking a heavier or lighter bike is better or worse. They're just different. Still not convinced? Okay, let's flip it for a second. Consider this, is a Peugeot 106 more nimble than an Audi RS6? We're looking at 1000cc and 850 kilos against 4000cc and over 2000 kilos. I'll let you guys make your own conclusions. I think then that there's a sweet spot weight envelope on a full power eMTB, but it's partly rider dependent too. The reason for this is, well, I ain't nimble at 92 kilos. Does it matter? The famous all black Ma Nonu, a lot heavier than me at 110 kilos, but twice as fast on foot, way more explosive. Yes, less handsome, but much more nimble. What I'm saying is that nimbleness is a rider thing too. So, a skinny person will probably have a tough time on a rugby field in the same way as a skinny fork will have a torrid time in a pile of rock and root. So now we can add skill and confidence and terrain into the equation. In conclusion, I believe that many of us are hardwired into thinking, believing even, that lighter is better. I've ridden sub 20 kilos full power eMTBs, they're great. Are they better? I don't think it has anything to do with weight. It's about experience, it's about the system. A well-planted, yet lively when needed, silent bike that's around 25 kilos, which many eMTBs are, is a beautiful thing. And you know what? Let's return to mountain biking. Now, if downhill racers thought that lighter was better, they'd be riding bikes which are sub 17 kilos. But I think you'll find in the past 2 decades, downhill bikes have actually got heavier. And the simple fact is that they're less skittery. In fact, some people are actually adding weight to their downhill bikes to make them a little bit more stable. And if you look at one of the fastest downhill riders on the planet, Amaury Piron, he's riding a bike which is 10 pounds heavier than the bikes of 2008. I think bias does exist. There are echo chambers in the mountain bike world, so keep tabs on that. I know for a fact that I can ride as fast downhill on a 26 kilo bike as much as a 22 or a 20 kilo bike, and I can actually have just as much fun on all of them. And also, what we've not even talked about yet, is the whole business of agility is an uphill thing as well as down.